the big talking point in exit interviews and everything was how this year felt and looked different, right? And there's no moral victories. I'm sure Well fans believe in that too. They didn't get past the first round again, but the group felt like they had more belief, they had mental toughness, more handled adversity better. They obviously feel like they deserved to win. A couple of those games in 50-50. So I think there's some positivity going into the offseason with it. They're not as much, I think, as disappointment as there was maybe 2 years ago, Mike, or last year. But this all points to this summer, I think, to me. I think no matter what happened in the first round, how good they felt, or they feel it's different, this is a stepping stone to getting where they want to go. If they don't execute this summer, it's all kind of a moot point to me, because they've been waiting for this for so long. A chance to have the cap hits off the books, a chance to make a smart splash in free agency and build around Kirill. And obviously Kirill will be the big talking point here too. But, I haven't been around here as long as you have, Mike. So maybe you get a better feel for, is there maybe more hope and belief this summer than there was maybe the last 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think just because everybody's been anticipating it for so long. But I mean, if I had $1 for every time I wrote that the Wild had a critical offseason in front of them, I'd be a rich man. Or I'd have $25. Look, I will say, I mean, it is the cynic in me, right? Like the entire eval yesterday, I kept on thinking like, what if Eric Sinek doesn't score that goal? What's this like today? You know what I mean? Even Brock Faber said it. It's hard to say that we lost in the first round and took a step, but it did feel different. But the reality is that they needed a miracle to make the playoffs. Like they almost had the most epic collapse in I can't even say in NHL history, because apparently the North Stars had some epic collapse back once also in the 80s. But look, they went from being the best team in the league to obviously an immense amount of injuries. I totally agree with Bill Guerin when he said that, the reason why it feels like when they have injuries, it's bigger than other teams is because they just don't have the depth because of their cap situation. So that's what he's going to try to really also fix this offseason. He made it very clear that he really believes that they're medically well taken care of and that this is just a lot of bad luck, which I don't totally disagree with at all. You can't stop pucks from hitting your groin and your hand and things like that. Yeah. I mean, things break. And they have guys that don't shy away from getting into shooting lanes. So I think that's what it comes down to. To your point, Joe, they had a really, they played well in the playoffs. Those games absolutely could have gone either way. This had a different feel than a lot of their playoff losses. But it all comes down to this offseason, and that's what happens. I mean, look, Bill again is not wrong when he says it's a process that you can't just expect to be a cup contender next year. But when he bought himself 4 years and kicked this down the curb for 4 years, now the expectation is, yes, you are going to turn him into a cup contender right away. They don't have an infinite amount of money. This upcoming year, at least at 95.5, they only have about $17 million barring trades. And as you and I have both documented 1,000 times, this is not a great free agent class. So I really think that where he's going to have to get smart and bold are via trades. The problem is that he has traded a lot of draft capital this past year. They're 2026 second for Gus Nyquist. They're a first, a second, a third, a fourth, and Damon Hunt for Juracek. Just a lot of picks, even though they got a pick back in the Lauko trade, throwing a pick in the first Lauko trade, and then throwing a pick in again to get them to take Lauko in the second Lauko trade, even knowing that Boston sent them a broken player, somebody that had chronic injury. So that trade still, I just don't get. You trade Khusnutdinov and Lauko for Brazo, but then you throw him a pick to take a player that was injured because he came to you injured. That makes no sense. So there was just, I don't know, there's just, I don't see other big ways to make huge trades this offseason unless he's going to give up significant pieces of the future. And that could be a Lee Bogren, that could be a Marco Rossi, that could be future picks. But they don't, they have traded a lot of draft capital the last couple of years.
And that also leads into the fact they can't offer sheet anybody, right?
Yeah, I was just going to
Yeah.
say that.
They can offer
Yeah, I
sheet.
mean, there are ways, right? I mean, they could, I mean, there are ways you could get that second back. There's a plateau of like 4 point something to 6.8 something. That's a first and a third that doesn't include that second. So there are ways to do it, but yeah, I mean, he would have to, do what St. Louis for a significant piece. He'd probably have to do what St. Louis did last year, and where they went to Pittsburgh, got their pick back, and were able to make that trade with Edmonton. Similarly, they would have to go to Nashville and try to get that pick back. But then you're giving them, more to just try to get that pick back.